Hey guys, what's up? And today I'm gonna do a final movie review of the month, September 2018, and that is Suicide Squad from 2016. Since the DC people are making a Joker standalone movie with Joaquin Phoenix, which I am extremely excited about, I want to talk about Suicide Squad, because I watched this movie with my cousins in the theaters 2 years ago, and I didn't really have time to talk about it ever since I started this channel, so I figured, why not talk about it now? So, Suicide Squad is basically a DCU movie that doesn't heavily involves around Batman, or Superman, or Wonder Woman, or The Flash, or Joker even. Well, Joker appears slightly in the movie, but just very, very slightly. This movie mainly revolves around these characters who are bad characters, bad people. They were in jail for quite some time, but they got out because Viola Davis wanted them to team up and become Task Force X, or the Suicide Squad, because they need to fight back whatever they're fighting back. Well, you know what? If you haven't watched the movie and you don't want to know who the villain is, I don't recommend you to watch this movie, but the thing they're fighting back is the witch. Yep, Cara Delevingne's The Witch. Let's start off by talking about the good things about this movie. First of all, the characters. They are freaking awesome. They are amazing. I can really tell that the writers of this movie really pay a lot of attention to the details of these characters and make them as fleshed out as possible. Harley Quinn is a good character, really well portrayed by Margot Robbie, who captures the eccentricity and the insanity of the character really well. I think Will Smith's Deadshot is also a really good character with a lot of heart, but at the same time, he also cracks a lot of jokes that land pretty well in the movie that made me and all the other audience members laugh up. And I also think, surprisingly, Jai Courtney is actually not bad in the movie. He's actually pretty awesome. Yeah, that's kind of rare. And yes, while Joker's scenes in this movie aren't that exciting or intense or outstanding or anything, but I think the character of Joker is actually pretty nice in this movie. I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying it's Heath Ledger or Jack Nicholson, but Jared Leto's rendition of the Joker is actually pretty unique, pretty one of a kind. The Joker in Suicide Squad is more of this insane, eccentric, messed up mobster, mob head, and that aspect, that version of Joker is real well portrayed by Jared Leto. And yeah, Jared Leto, he's a good actor. He's a way better actor than a musician, but we'll talk about that in another video. And I also like that even though this movie is mainly for fun, it's mainly entertainment, it's mainly mayhem and destruction, there is a lot of heart in the movie. There are scenes that deals with the characters' flashbacks, including that Deadshot flashback that I think is pretty good, with some very important and critical cameos. But the scene at the bar where the characters interact, I think it's a really good scene where they pour their hearts out. And speaking of cameos, I think the cameos are pretty good as well. Ben Affleck's Batman shows up. Ezra Miller's The Flash shows up for a very brief moment. And I don't think their cameos interrupt the movie at all. I think their cameos are pretty slick, not gonna lie. And of course, this movie won an Oscar for Best Makeup, and indeed, the makeup in this movie is really awesome. And the CGI is actually not that bad either. I like how when Enchantress, the witch, Cara Delevingne, when the girl turns to the witch, the Enchantress, there's a black hand, I don't know how to describe it, it's weird. Like Cara Delevingne had her hand like this, and there's another hand under her hand, and they hold hands together and they flip around, and Cara Delevingne becomes Enchantress. And I think that is a real cool move. And I like the overall tone of the movie. It's very fun, it's really wacky, it's zany, it's eccentric words slapping onto the screen. It's like a big middle finger to artistic styles, just screw it, man. And I also think that this movie succeeds at being funny. There are a lot of good jokes in the movie. However, there are also a lot of flaws in the movie that I don't quite appreciate. Let's first start off by talking about the character introduction scene where Amanda Wallace, portrayed by Viola Davis, sits in a restaurant and explaining to this dude all the villains, all the super villains she's talking about. It's like she's introducing all the characters for us instead of us watching the characters. And it's like the movie's throwing information at our face, feeding it to our mouths, and not letting us digest it and realize it by ourselves. And I think that's not that good. It's not that good. It's a little corny at times even. But what's the corniest moment in the movie has to be the scene where, oh yeah, by the way, minor spoiler alert, but Viola Davis's character, Amanda Waller, she's not a good person, okay? So she did some bad things. And this person who works for her, Rick Flag, he was like, whoa, you're a dick too. Damn, you're cool. I'm gonna work for you. Yay, let's go. And, I mean, that's a really weird moment in the movie, because before that scene, Rick Flag was all about the righteousness. He didn't like the characters. He didn't like Harley Quinn or Deadshot because they're bad guys, and Rick Flag is a good guy. He believes in justice. But then all of a sudden, Viola Davis snaps and did some shit, and Rick Flag was like, whoa, you're a dick. That's cool. And that's kind of corny. Also, the trailer is a little misleading. In the trailer, there are a lot of scenes with Jared Leto's Joker, but in the movie, he's not really there. He's in there for a couple of scenes. That's pretty underwhelming. And there are a really stupid problem with the character of Enchantress. Not only is Enchantress not... the character, June Moore, not only is she the worst freaking archaeologist ever, the character of Enchantress is just weird. She's doing all these hip moves. She's always belly dancing all the time. Even when she's killing people, she's just doing this, and her head's moving around. Her arms are flopping around. Why am I stuttering? It's just weird. It's weird. And the last act of the movie is also pretty messed up. Actually, the last act of the movie is the biggest flaw of the movie, in my opinion. It's super chopped up, super cluttered, and the action sequences in that last act are so messy. Shit just flew into the frame and went out immediately all the time in these action sequences. It's really messy. The audience members can barely keep up with what's happening in the scene. And the overall plot, the overall editing, the overall act is very chopped up. Like, there's a scene where a guy's gonna die. A guy's gonna frickin' die. And all of a sudden, a few seconds later, he's totally fine. His clothes are totally perfect, and he's like, yep, I'm fine. And it feels like the editors cut out a lot of scenes, a lot of shots, and we're just presented with a bunch of bare bones action shots that are not really that interesting to begin with. So While the characters are pretty awesome, the plot lacks quite a lot. And that's why this movie is a mixed bag, I must say. I'm saying Suicide Squad is meh, and I'm giving the movie a 6 out of 10. So, have you watched Suicide Squad from 1 to 10? How much did you rate it? Like if you like it, hate if you hate it, and subscribe if you want more. Yep.